Welcome back to your live continuing coverage of the New York International Auto Show 2017 on BeTerrific. I'm Michael Artsis. You're the Terrifics. You make BeTerrific special. Thanks so much for watching. This is why we do this. It's for you. At BeTerrific TV on all social media, including Snapchat. We're starting to do some snaps with the spectacles here at the New York International Auto Show. We've done some 360 videos on Facebook. We'll do Periscope. So you got to check us out everywhere. And don't forget, you can keep the positive feedback coming. We love it. And you can join our Slack chat by sending us an email, connect@BeTerrific.com. It's as simple as that. We need your name and your email address, and we'll send you an invite to join the Slack chat, which is a chat room for us, you, and the rest of the Terrifics 24 hours a day where we can have real-time communications. Now, the New York International Auto Show is phenomenal, and we get great guests. We learn about all the new vehicles. There is not an auto show in North America that debuts more vehicles, and that's why the New York International Auto Show, which goes on for 2 weeks starting Saturday, the 15th, is unbelievable. The 15th of April, this Saturday, the show opens to the public. I'm joined by Dr. David Milch, who is the chairman of BeTerrific. Good to see you.
The sounds are cranking up behind us. You know, you can feel the energy starting to rise here at the Javits Center for the New York Auto Show.
You can, and it's really amazing. The show, they use press days to test their speakers, to do press conferences, to do all sorts of things. Sean from GMC is joining us. And
welcome, Sean.
Thank you, David. I'm
welcome.
Michael.
Hey, how are you?
Doing well. Excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you because, you know, I really love what GMC offers, and I'm not a truck guy. I've never been a truck guy. I've always been a car guy. My whole life, I've been around cars. David can attest to that. And it wasn't until I went to go watch my friend Darrell Reed, who played for the Broncos, play football in Denver, and I was going to stay out there for about a week, that I fell in love with GMC. In fact, I maybe had been in a Yukon once in my life. And I got to Denver, and the only car they had left at the rental car place was a Yukon Denali. And I was like, I don't want this car. It's too big. I don't want to pay you extra money for it. And the guy said, I'll give it to you for the same price. I don't want the car. All right, fine, I'll take it. He said, before I left, he said, the last thing he said to me was, you're going to thank me tomorrow. I said, thank you tomorrow? Why? He goes, well, first of all, you're going to love the vehicle. I said, I doubt that, pal. And second of all, it's going to snow. I said, it's 70 degrees. Yeah, it's October in Denver. I said, buddy, it's not snowing. He said, I promise you, it's going to snow. I woke up the next morning, went to the vehicle, and it was covered in snow, as was Denver. So I was surprised by that. But I have to tell you, I love the Yukon Denali so much I wanted to drive it home from Denver and never give it back. And I fell in love with the vehicle spending a week with it. And then I've driven the Acadia and love that. I think that the GMC lineup is just tremendous. You've got an all-new Terrain as well.
And I had a similar experience. We talked about this briefly. I flew into Reno. I was going skiing in Tahoe, and they've had a record dump in Tahoe. And I got myself a Yukon, and let me tell you, was I happy to have that vehicle under me. So tell us all about
absolutely.
it.
I think you both have experienced the engineering excellence that's beneath every GMC, and I think that's really core. I'm glad you both experienced Yukon. We consider that one of our flagships. Really great stake, flag in the ground for us. And when you're going through the pass up from Denver in the snow, and that's when you appreciate sitting up a little higher, having that confidence in the four-wheel drive and the vehicle beneath you. So
and for Michael, it's important that he sits up high.
Well, I'm glad we could give you that confidence, and yeah, we've carried that through our full lineup. Some great SUV momentum, to your point. Acadia and Terrain continue on that tradition of engineering excellence, which you both have experienced in those trips.
The thing that surprises me so much, especially about the Yukon, and I find this with the Acadia too, they are such big vehicles. The Acadia is a big vehicle. It looks smaller than it actually is. The Yukon doesn't look smaller. It is as big as it looks. But they drive smaller. And so they really don't, I mean, you experienced this recently, right? You don't feel like you're in this enormous vehicle. It looks like you're driving your living room around. It doesn't feel like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a huge.
Not in a Winnebago,
yeah.
fishtailing down the road.
Right. Yeah, our engineers do a great job of maximizing the interior
and
space
we love Winnebago, by the way. Winnebago is a wonderful company.
Yeah. But even in the smaller vehicles like Terrain, we've actually shortened it by 3 inches in this next generation, but we've largely maintained the interior passenger and cargo space. So again, kudos to our engineers. The second row seats fold flat, and the front seat folds fully flat now. So even in a compact SUV, the GMC Terrain, you can get something up to 8 feet long in the back of that vehicle. So again, it's about maximizing the interior space, and then everything that makes you feel like you're not driving a big Winnebago. A big part of that is also vision, right? So rear vision cameras, surround vision cameras, we have that on the new GMC Terrain as well. So I'm glad you felt that as well. Maneuverability is key.
So besides the wonderful trucks and other cars, you know, General Motors, iconic American company.
Yes.
It's just incredible. And there's so much going on in the car industry. So besides displaying your line, you know, you're looking at what the other companies are doing. You're talking about technology. Sure. You're talking about some of the things that General Motors is innovating in. Some of the things we've talked about with, you know, some of the other guests have been electric cars, driverless cars, and other trends in the industry. Love to hear you talk about that.
Yeah, I think I got to give kudos to Mary Barra and our leadership team. I think they are positioning GM very well to be successful in the future when it comes to autonomous, when it comes to electric. If you look at vehicles like the Bolt EV, 230 plus range out in market now, which is just incredible. And when we talk autonomous, even ride sharing with brands like Maven, I mean, we're getting there and we're moving quickly. We want to be a first mover into all those spaces. And again, kudos to our leadership team for setting us up for success.
When you look at autonomous vehicles, to me, it makes more sense to have something like a Yukon than it does to have something smaller like a car, because I want to be able to reconfigure the vehicle and have space to do other things that are no longer, because I'm no longer being taken up by driving, right? So now couldn't I work or couldn't I spend more time with my family? And couldn't we have the seats face each other, or have a desk, or have maybe a bed to lie down on and take a nap?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the most interesting parts about autonomous is it totally redefines the purpose of the interior of a car. So you really, as an engineer and designer, you can take a whole new, fresh take on it. So you see every manufacturer taking their own spin. Mercedes-Benz at Detroit this year, Chrysler with the Pacifica will follow suit. Really, you just totally reinvent the interior, what you're doing on the inside while you commute. Totally changes the game.
And it must be a challenge for the designers and the forward thinkers, because you're not going to have a Murphy bed, to lay down and take a snooze for 3 hours, in a year or two. That's going to take a transition. Yes. But driverless is inevitable. Whether it starts in the fleets maybe, or with some of the the driver services, the trucking industry. But I know that General Motors has really reached out, both within its own development, its own technology centers, and partnering with companies on the outside.
True, very true. Leveraging third parties who have made their own leaps towards that future. But again, to your point, it's incremental. And where we see it apply to current gen vehicles is advanced safety tech. So radar-based systems, camera-based systems. These are the same grounds that would enable autonomous driving in the future. So
talk about some of the features in the Terrain, the all-new Terrain, and then we can talk maybe Acadia and a little Yukon, what's new. I know one thing I will tell you, and you probably felt this way, is that the Yukon is a very safe vehicle. It does well in the crash test, but also it feels safe. And it's not all about luxury, it's about safety.
Absolutely. Yukon specifically, and when we talk autonomous, I think adaptive cruise control is something that really speaks to that progression. So it monitors the distance between you and the vehicle in front of you and manages that gap using acceleration and braking. So that's the kind of tech you can see easily translate into autonomous driving. When we look at the all-new Terrain, we have semi-automatic parking assist, so you can pull up next to a spot. The vehicle will actually identify a parallel or horizontal spot. You control the brake and throttle, and it will do all the steering for you. We also have surround vision cameras, and we have safety techs that monitor, again, the space in front of you before the vehicle in front of you, and will slow you down if that vehicle begins to brake, or warn you of an imminent collision so you can brake yourself.
The surround view cameras seem to really help with blind spots.
Yes.
I think people think of them traditionally for the mirrors, right? And you've seen a few years ago Honda introduced technology where when you turn on your directional signal, the camera would appear underneath the mirror, would appear on your dash cluster. How is GMC putting those surround cameras into action other than just backing the vehicle up? And is it also in the front where you have that blind spot if somebody's right on the corner and you're going to make a turn and you can't see around them? Because I've seen it used for that and it seems tremendous. I haven't actually used it, but I've seen the concept.
Yeah, so surround vision will literally give you a bird's eye view of the vehicle from just above, and you can actually engage it outside of just reverse, so you could use it moving forwards as well. But I think if you talk merging lanes, we have an accessory trailering camera system for our Sierra HDs and Sierra light duty trucks that will basically, it adds a camera to the bottom of the trailering mirror. You've got obviously a massive trailer behind you, so when you hit your blinker, it will show you a wider frame than what you'd normally see just looking into your mirror, which is obviously important and key when you're trailing a massive load behind you.
Now I'm wondering, in terms of training people like yourself that is a spokesperson for the company and is really out there talking to the media, do you guys get introduced to some of the new ideas early on and you get to follow it through the development period, or do they wait until it's ready for it to be released to the public and then they give you a crash course, or is it kind of a mix depending upon the individual?
We're lucky enough on the marketing side, so we're very tied into the customer, and they look to us to see where technologies will be most relevant. The model, and then within the model, trim level, all that good stuff. So really we get a great early look many years out at what's coming down the line in terms of tech and safety, and we figure out which will be relevant for the different customers within different segments. So we get to tailor where those technologies go. So really cool looks down the road.
So just like the development of the technology is step-by-step in a process,
for sure,
in parallel with the marketing, the promotion, the sort of positioning and segmenting of the different offerings.
To make sure we get it to the right customer.
Exactly.
You got it. Yeah.
It's pretty spectacular how you guys do that, and you incorporate, I mean, from your point of view, you're incorporating what the customers need and where it should fit. And it's good that GMC does that. What about the Acadia? The Acadia is about, the new platform's about a year old, right? A year and a half old, something like that. Tell me some of the innovations that have happened in the last year that have been added to the new Acadia.
Yeah, so the new Acadia's got a lot of the tech that we obviously have in the Terrain today. The biggest thing with the Acadia is we resized the vehicle. So we shrunk it down to be in what we call the heart of the segment, which is where a lot of the volume is for mid-size SUV. So now it plays in that space. It's still a 3-row vehicle. The all-terrain is one of the trims. Off-road focus is 2-row only. But again, great space for that segment. We think it's in the right size now, and we're excited to see the momentum it takes into the coming years.
Were you able to maintain interior space and cargo space in that vehicle as well? I mean, I think you cut 6 inches off, so that's a lot. And 3 inches, okay, maybe that's a little bit of the bumper here and a little bit of the bumper there, and we're good.
Yeah.
But you're talking 6 inches. That's a lot of space.
Yeah, so the 6 inches, it was more of a resize, and that did impact interior space on Acadia, where, as you're right, on Terrain we could take just the 3 inches off the front overhang and protect that interior space. But we did offer the old generation Acadia for a good year to give people who needed that extra space time to buy, and now we think we're in a better spot. When you talk maneuverability, garageability, the new Acadia does a great job in terms of that dimension, that size.
It also moves it away from the Yukon, right? Because
True.
You know, it was getting close to the size of a Yukon, made it a really hard decision. Do I go with the Yukon or the Acadia?
Yeah, I think we reach more customers in more targeted and more optimal ways with each of those 3 vehicles. So now we have the great lineup of Terrain and Compact, Acadia and Mid, and then in full size our Yukon.
What's new with the Yukon?
New with the Yukon, we've got a Chrome Edition on the SLT, so Denali's been a massive player for us on Yukon and Yukon XL. We sell 60% of our Yukon XLs as Denali's and 50% of the Yukon short wheelbase as Denali's. So we're strengthening the SLT brand a little bit, giving it some more appearance, and that just came out in the 17 model year. So we're excited to see how that does.
You know, when you think about a company like General Motors, there's a famous saying, think global, act local. So you have to be able to see things from the top, but you also have to have your feet on the ground. And I'm wondering, in terms of the corporate culture, in terms of how they nurture and they train up and coming, people in management and so forth, do they both look at the global, strategies and plans for? We got lots of stuff going on in the background.
Yeah. We brought it down to a nice whisper for a bit,
exactly.
But we're back up to a full yell.
This is being live at the show, right? And only BeTerrific offers this. So thinking global and training up and coming executives and managers to see the broad sweep of vision of the company, but also understanding that each market has its dynamics. Is that something that's part of your life?
It is. I think when GM brings people into the company, it's emphasized that you should get on-the-ground field experience first. And what that does is it exposes you to both of our customers, A, our dealers, and B, our end customers, which is most important. So you understand their needs, how the decisions we make back in Detroit affect both of those customers, and that carries through for the rest of your career. And then once you progress, nice volume changes, progress further in your career, you start moving around, you get some international experience, and you start to understand those unique aspects of each market.
And then one finds out that things that might work in Holland or might be working in Argentina, suddenly there's a market niche and opportunity in North America, and one can gain from that experience.
Correct. Yes. Yep.
And what about in kind of going in that line? What about your career? How did you start with GMC, and how did you transition through the company?
Yeah, so I started 4 years ago now in a rotational program. So they bounced me between sales, service, and marketing. So I started actually at the call centers. If people have issues or questions, they call in, and I helped write the process to get those customers to the right people and to get them the answers as quickly as possible. So that was, again, class 101 in terms of customer, getting people what they need and understanding their needs.
Right,
exactly.
And that's everything from my Bluetooth won't connect to my phone but it connected yesterday to, hey, I really have a faulty part on my car here.
Yeah, it's everything. And again, the big lesson I took out of that was customer loyalty is huge, right? You need to earn people's loyalty as a customer. And if there is ever an error, the best thing to do, make it up, put their needs first, acknowledge it,
yeah.
and then you earn loyalty again that way. So that was a massive call from our leadership team there, was to earn customer loyalty and maintain that, because that's critical. Again, keeping our customer at the center.
And then so you moved from there to...
Yes, yeah, so moved from there, did a bit in auto shows, a bit in global marketing, agency relations, again, touching different parts of sales, service, and marketing, and then I came out and joined the GMC marketing team and spent some time on Sierra, so got the good flagship GMC, and now introducing Terrain into the largest and busiest segment in compact SUV.
How long? So now Mary has her eye on you, right?
Yeah, well, I don't know about that yet. If you ask her about Sean, she might say Sean who. Yeah.
And what about the amount of time you spend behind the wheel of these vehicles? Do you really spend a lot of time between the wheel of each one of the GMC trucks?
We do, and it's highly encouraged. So we have a marketing fleet that we obviously use to support occasions like this, but we also have those that support media drives, and whenever we need to, we sign one out, and we can take it out for a week or two, and most everyone on our team does drive a GMC, and again, highly encouraged. You need to know the product you're talking about and selling every day, right? So it's part of it.
How'd you get into the car business? Have you always been fascinated with cars?
I have. I actually got it from my granddad. He's a bit of a gearhead. He's over in England. He's British. He's working on 2 MGs right now that he's rebuilding from the ground up, wooden frames and all. So that went through my dad to me, and I got none of the engineering capability, but I got the marketing, strategic thinking side, and the car bug. So that was where I am now is kind of a nice intersection of those two. And
well,
that's what brought me
probably
here.
Embedded in you just from all those years with granddad.
I hope so.
And, yeah.
I like to think so. Yeah. But yeah, definitely more marketing strategic side.
Very cool. Well, I love what's going on at GMC, and love the vehicles. They're just really, really well put together. They're very safe, and they're really great to drive. I mean, it's so weird that I would say I love a truck, but I absolutely love the Yukon.
Yeah, I hope we can get you in another one, hopefully for the same price point next time you're in Denver.
Hey, listen, I would take one every time I rent a car.
Oh yeah.
If I could get the same price point.
Yeah, me as well. Me as well.
Well, and also just a fantastic story. General Motors and the auto industry in general, coming from a very tough period, you know, in the mid 2000s, and just making a remarkable recovery, really leading, you know, and partnering in North America and worldwide with technology, and certainly, you know, the President of the United States is, you know, waving the banner for, you know, Buy American, and, you know, for the for the auto industry to continue to make its strides, and it's fantastic to be on the floor of the Javits Center at the New York Auto Show and to have you here with us, Sean.
It is. Thank you so much, David.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Sean.
Appreciate it.
Terrific. We'll be back with a whole lot more right after this. Stay with us.